Folks, I had a couple of Trumpy interactions recently, and I'm not going to lie, they kind of got to me, so I want to tell you about them. Now, I don't know how it is for other creators, but I have not cracked the code on monetizing my content. For the time I put in, I make peanuts. But one of the ways I've encouraged followers to support me is by subscribing to my Substack. I post all my scripts there, and a lot of the time I rework them or add to them, so when I post them, they're not the same as they are in spoken form. There's a free subscription, but there's also a paid one. Now, I only have a few paid subscribers, but they mean a lot to me. And one of the ways to get more paid subscribers is by adding a paywall, which I do to some of my posts. I usually put the paywall after a few sentences so the reader can get a sense of the piece before deciding if they want to upgrade their subscription. Well, a few days ago, I got a message from a subscriber that said, "Sorry to see you added a bait and switch paywall. I'll be unsubscribing." Which was like, ouch, really? So I asked him if he thought creators didn't deserve to be paid for their time. He said it wasn't that. It was the fact that I didn't put the paywall at the top of the piece, but instead I buried it, meaning I was being manipulative by leading him on and then hitting him with the paywall. He said he's been following me and he likes what I do, but he thought I should know why he was unsubscribing. Well, thanks, dude. And you know what? So what? I didn't care that I lost a subscriber. It was the assumption about my character that bothered me. Because if he had been following me, then it would make no sense for him to think I was the kind of person who would try to entrap people with a hidden paywall. He didn't have a problem with my content or my writing. It was about my perceived assholery, and I needed to be punished for it. Well, I blocked him. Bye-bye, dude. But I'd be lying if I didn't admit it hurt. Well, the same day I was at the drugstore, and I happened to be looking at something close enough to the checkout line for a guy to think I was actually in the checkout line when I wasn't. He assumed I was trying to hold a spot in the checkout line while still deciding on which card I wanted to buy from the display next to the checkout line. He looked like he was about mid-40s, and he really wanted to pay for his Doritos and batteries and get out of Rite Aid. So when the cashier said next, he spit out, "Lady, I don't have all day." Well, honestly, I hadn't even noticed him. So I straightened up and said, "Are you talking to me?" And he said, "I'm waiting for you, aren't I? Hissy pissy." So I smiled and I said, "Did you mean to say, 'Excuse me, ma'am, are you in line?'" And he said, still pissy, "I was trying to be nice and not go ahead of you." And I said, "Oh, but you got it wrong because I'm not in line. So I didn't actually take any of your precious time." And then he called me a bitch and huffed by. And I said, "Whew, tough guy, have a sandwich, okay?" I don't know where I got the have a sandwich clapback. I think I love the image of a pissy man eating a PB&J all by himself as a timeout to calm down. Anyway, the thing that stuck with me after these incidents was the way both men assumed I was trying to put one over on them. I was being selfish. They both had their own narratives worked out in their heads about who I was and what I was trying to do. It had nothing to do with me. Because for both of these guys, the sweet spot is hissy pissy, and whoever happens to be a vehicle to help them hit it is fair game. And I would venture a guess that the notion of a selfish woman probably gets them both to hissy pissy faster than anything else. Ultimately, I'm fine. I can defend myself. I can tell a man to fudge off. But I picture my daughters running through their days shouldering all the projections of the baby men who just want to be mad and want a woman to be the reason, and it just makes me sad and kind of mad. There's no assumption of benevolence. There's no innocent till proven guilty. If you put out content, you're fair game for being ripped to shreds for all possible indiscretions. If you're a woman at the drugstore, you're fair game for the Dorito battery guy to let off some steam. Well, you might say neither of them gave it another thought, but I wouldn't believe you. I think both of them heard me. Whether that changes their behavior next time, who knows? But I'd like to think clapping back is sort of like paying it forward. Maybe the next time they have the instinct to get hissy-pissy at a woman, they might allow for the possibility that she won't make it easy for them. Well, hissy-pissy men, have the day you deserve. Yeah.